Hello, my name is Karen Klima. I'm a Terrestrial Wildlife Program Manager for the Arizona Game and Fish Department. Tonight on Arizona Wildlife Views, time for Junior Jack Camp, and the kids have gone hunting. Plus, a mom and daughter who find that hunting together keeps the family together. And later, an Arizona student whose amazing artwork could one day be a collector's item. Tonight on Arizona Wildlife Views.
Arizona Wildlife Views is brought to you by the sale of hunting and fishing licenses and the Heritage Fund, lottery dollars working for wildlife. Some projects made possible by the Sport Fish and Wildlife Restoration Fund.
For years, fathers have been taking their sons to the outdoors in search of game. But today, more of that tradition is being passed from father to daughter and mother to daughter. And for these girls, it's not about bringing home the game, it's about getting in the game.
The legendary Annie Oakley once said, "I would like to see every woman know how to handle firearms as naturally as they know how to handle babies." Clearly, this woman was way ahead of her time. Mothers and daughters bond over lots of experiences together. Some bond over shopping or hobbies. But for Corrine Adkins and her daughter Rhea, the bond takes place outdoors, often in the desert, on a hunt in the early morning.
I've been hunting since I was 9.
I just love to spend time out in nature with her, and it's special with her because we always have a lot of fun, and we get to see stuff that, you know, we find antlers or tracks, or sometimes we see deer or javelinas.
Recent numbers by huntersurvey.com found that women currently make up more than 11% of hunters, and that number is growing.
My dad and we went bird hunting, and I wanted to wait till I was 10 so I could do hunter ed and go deer hunting and javelina hunting.
Rhea and her mom are participants in a Junior Jack camp that helps teach youth hunting skills. But it's about more than just learning how to hunt.
You know, we're seeing a lot more girls out hunting. We're seeing them more at these camps. And it's so great to see these girls out here because hunting gives them a sense of pride, I think. You know, they can go out, they can harvest their own meat, bring it home, and bring it to their table. And it's a great bonding time between either their mother or their father or grandparent, whoever goes out with them. And it's just that sense of pride in being able to go out there and do it. And, you know, boys have done this for so long, and the girls are finally picking up on it, and they're wanting to get out there too, and I think it's fantastic.
I've been hunting with my husband when she was very little, and that was never a question. I just wanted her. She always enjoyed to go with us to go hunt, and we couldn't wait for her to go hunting first, you know, on her own, get her first tag.
It didn't take long for Rhea to experience the ultimate in the hunting and harvesting experience.
In Arizona, I got a buck, and that was my first deer harvested in Arizona. My dad and I like to make sausages, and with the javelina that we get, we make chorizo and snack sticks.
A few years ago, Erica Kirkpatrick was one of the young hunters participating in the Junior Jack Camp.
Oh, yeah, it was
New hat. Hunting for us, my dad and I, have always just been kind of our time together.
Today, she comes to mentor and encourage younger girls to join in the hunts.
I just think that they need to know that hunting is a fun experience. It can be just this fun thing. You just get to meet these amazing people, and you get to make amazing friends that you can just grow up with and keep throughout your life.
Hunting is a heritage. It's something that's passed down from parent to child. And it's really important to keep that because there's so much significant bonding and skills that kids learn when they're out hunting. And it's really important to keep that alive, because I really believe in that time, you know, it's away from the computers, away from the cell phone, and it's mom and dad and the kid, or mom and the kid, or dad and the kid, however it works out, and they have time to go out by themselves, out in the middle of nowhere, and just spend some time together and learn some valuable skills, learn about ethics, learn about humane treatment of animals, learn about, you know, how to bring meat to their table. And it's just so important to keep that alive, and so that people stay connected with the outdoors.
Rhea's mother, Corrine, also believes that her daughter takes away something more from hunting game.
I think hunting is going to make her a more patient person. It's going to teach her, you know, that you don't have to be afraid. It's going to teach her somehow a sense of where she's at. She'll just be a strong, confident woman one day and go out and hunt by herself.
Hi, I'm Jim Heffelfinger, the Wildlife Science Coordinator for Arizona Game and Fish, and we're at the Junior Jack Camp 2017. And this is a camp where we have kids come down, they learn how to hunt jackrabbits, how to find some good jackrabbit habitat, how to clean the jackrabbit, and how to cook them. Okay, so we've got a cast iron wok that's got some oil in, and it's hot, and so we're putting some diced pieces of jackrabbit meat in the wok, and we're going to season it and brown it up so it has a nice braised, caramelized covering. And when we get all the meat brown, then we'll start up our stew stock, and we'll cook it for a couple hours. Whenever I'm making stew, I like to take the stew chunks and brown it and get a nice brown coating on there. And I use a lot of different seasonings. I use just a Masterpiece barbecue seasoning or a Lowry seasoned salt. It doesn't matter so much the seasoning, just to get a little bit of spice on there to caramelize on the meat when it browns. A lot of people, when I tell them that we're shooting jackrabbits and we're eating jackrabbits, their first comment is, "You can't really eat jackrabbits, can you?" But it's really a social thing. It's a social taboo. The jackrabbits are actually hares. They're not technically rabbits, like a cottontail is a rabbit. And the European hare is eaten widely, but for some reason the North American hare, our jackrabbits, people don't think of them as game animals. But the meat is actually not like chicken. The meat is actually like beef. And so if you cook it up using a beef stew or kind of a beef carnitas or any kind of recipe that uses a beef or a dark red meat, it cooks up fantastic. And a lot of times you can't even tell the difference between beef and jackrabbit. The tenderloins that come out of the back are very tender. Some people keep those separate because you can use those in recipes that call for a little bit lighter meat, like just sirloin tips or stir fry, and just stir fry those up. Whereas the legs, we usually use it for stew or for carnitas or green chilies or just regular chili. So the meat has a really good beefy-like taste. When we started this camp, probably about 6 or 7 years ago, not many people were posting pictures on the internet or any place of jackrabbits they've killed. But after a few years of this camp, we started seeing some the picture boards at Sportsman Warehouse and some of the online forums. You started seeing a lot of kids with jackrabbits, and so I think we're really making a difference and teaching people that this is jackrabbits are an untapped resource. So now we're starting the stew stock. So I've got a pot of stew with the water warming up with 3 gallons of water, and then I'm just going to add regular beef stew seasoning that you get at Walmart. Pretty simple recipe, and it's an easy way to get the seasoning right. So for this recipe, the way we have it scaled for the number of kids here, we're doing 3 gallons of water and 4 packets of seasoning. So I'm just adding the vegetables, and the vegetables that I buy are carrots and tomatoes, or carrots and potatoes, but the potatoes are nearly done, and so I separate them and I add the carrots first, let those cook for a couple hours before we add the potatoes right at the end. McCormick's brown gravy mix, which makes that stew thicken up nicely. So not only can kids go out and have fun, and learn some hunting skills, but they can come home and provide a delicious pot of stew for the family. You should try it. This is an easy recipe to make. Try it at home and I think you're going to enjoy it.
We had some amazing entries this year. We had a little over 130.
The artwork is outstanding.
Some of the 6-year-olds submitted artwork that was just as good as the 15 or 16-year-olds. So we were very impressed by that.
It was created by Arizona students in grades K through 12 to compete in the Federal Junior Duck Stamp Competition. Winners were announced April 8th at the Rio Salado Audubon Center in Phoenix. The best of show went to 16-year-old Katrina Jaw for her colored pencil drawing of a mallard.
And I see ducks around like the lakes and everything when we go to parks, and I thought it would be cool if we could see like the ripples it makes under the water, so I decided to draw this. It feels great. Yeah, hopefully it will get something in nationals, but you know.
Katrina's artwork will now compete with the best of show from all 50 states. The winner is turned into a stamp that will be sold to collectors, and the money goes back into the Junior Duck Stamp program and conservation education.
The reason the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service does this program is to encourage kids to learn about wildlife conservation and habitat conservation. And so they're encouraged to learn about it, to go out and take photos, to take studies, and then the culmination is a piece of artwork. So it's melding science and art together.
Arizona boasts 556 confirmed species of birds plus 35 species that are unconfirmed. It's no wonder that birding is a popular pastime here, enjoyed by thousands every day. One reason for birding's popularity is a chance to enjoy the natural world. No matter where you live, you can interact with birds. In fact, some of the best birding spots are right in your own backyard.
The snowy egret and the ibis there.
Peggy Coleman, avid bird photographer, discusses how she combines her passion for photography and birding.
I've had a love of photography my entire life. The first bird that got me interested in bird photography was our friend the cactus wren. One day when I was at the Desert Botanical Garden walking along, just enjoying the beautiful garden, and came across a cactus wren sitting on a cactus and took a picture. And about the time I took the picture, he looked up. And it is still, to this day, my favorite photograph of a cactus wren. That was the one that did it for me. From there, it was just love of birds. I came by it naturally. My grandmother raised finches when I was a little girl, and my parents loved birds, and more so my father than anything. He taught me very well that some of the best places to see birds and wildlife is in your own backyard. And that is definitely where I spend a lot of my time. Being that I live in a very urban area, I live in a home that's over 100 years old, historical home in downtown Glendale. I spend a lot of time in the backyard just seeing who flies in, and I'm rarely disappointed. Had a family of Harris's hawks that came to visit last year, and really a lot of fun watching the juveniles with that. I had Lewis's woodpeckers come down, which is unusual for the valley, and camped in the front palm trees for the winter. So that's how it began.
Whether you live in a historic house or a downtown high-rise apartment, there are a lot of public places around the valley to watch, enjoy, and photograph birds and other wildlife.
We have some beautiful parks. Papago Park is one of my favorite places to see birds. The Glendale Recharge Ponds, although not a favorite place for photographers, is a wonderful place to spot some of our winter visitors. Tres Rios, which is further south. Some of the places out here, Zanjero Park, which is again, not a favorite place for photographers.
There is one place that is dear to the heart of the serious birder, so much so that it has been designated an Arizona Important Bird Area. Mention the riparian and they all know you're talking about the Gilbert Water Ranch.
The Gilbert riparian is an absolute jewel for this area. It has 7 ponds that vary in how much they're filled and therefore bring in a variety of different birds throughout the season. Every season is different. We have ducks in the winter. We have egrets almost year-round. The northern harrier and some of the other hawks are making an appearance right now. It's just an amazing place that you can wander around for hours and just see a variety of birds and also enjoy the company of other birders. There she is right there, because that's part of the fun of bird photography as well, is getting to know some of the people who share your passion.
On a recent outing to the riparian, Peggy met up with friend and fellow photographer Jaime Ontiveros for a personal tour of the area.
There's all kinds of wildlife at the riparian. You definitely can see coyotes at pretty much any given visit. Plenty of bunny rabbits, lots of birds. We've even had a few bobcats. So,
bobcats out here?
A couple of bobcats along the way, yep. An owl, great horned owl in this tree right over here. I'll tell you, it sat there and let everybody who walked by take pictures of them. I couldn't believe it. Let's check out Pond 5 here, Jaime. Usually some good ducks out there. Maybe we might see the harrier. Well, we've got snow egret out there. And yep, there's our northern harrier. He's flying in. Looks like the female coming in.
The back of Pond 5 is a regular haunt of the northern harriers, including one male the birders refer to as the gray ghost.
Oop. And there goes the snow egret catching my eye here. Can't miss an egret shot. Oh boy. Wildlife photography is all about patience. There's no question about that. Setting up and watching and waiting. But the payoff is amazing, that's for sure.
I call it fishing with a camera.
Definitely. There's a hunting great egret out there right now.
Man, you know your birds.
Yep. The great egret has the orange beak and no yellow slippers. The snow egret's got the little yellow slippers, so that's the easiest way to tell them apart. Oh yeah, got some great action shots there. Fun stuff. When they can't find fish, they'll go after the rats and the mice in the field.
Oh really?
Oh yeah. I actually watched a blue heron take down a turtle about this big.
Oh my gosh.
No kidding.
What, just by beaking it?
It just grabbed it and sucked it down. Amazing.
Oh.
I've seen him take frogs.
The turtle.
And lots of mice and rats, that's for sure.
Mistake.
Talk about patience. Watch this great egret just waiting for his prey to surface. Little ruffle, little grooming, love that. Love to get those shots.
Does it get kind of frustrating? You come to one pond, there's nothing there, and you have to go on?
Well, you have to do a little looking around when you get to the riparian, because you never know what pond is going to be open, which one's going to be active.
What are you looking for when you come in? I mean, obviously if the bird's sitting there, but I mean, are there little things that tell you this ought to be a good spot today?
Well, water helps. Water, and if you can see some activity, you know that there's some food, because that's the 2 ingredients for birding.
That's the key.
Yep, water and food. One of the things I love best is to find birds out in the open to get those portrait shots, but there is a great love in behavior shots and therefore catching them in the shadows and light, letting light work with you, and to create a story with the birds. Behavior is definitely a lot of fun. It's without a doubt the #1 enchantment I have with this birding is their behavior. Learning what they do, learning to be able to predict helps your photography greatly. If you can kind of figure out what they're going to do next, where they're going to fly, when they're going to jump, it absolutely increases your success rate with birding photography.
This photo of the parenting behavior of American coots was chosen for the 2015 Arizona Wildlife Views calendar. Shazam, her now famous picture of a green heron, was the May poster bird for the department's 2014 calendar and won second place in the Arizona Highways Magazine 2014 photography contest. Because of her success, she is often asked, what is the best camera for bird photography?
The best camera for bird photography is the one you have in your hands. And what I mean by that is, I don't care if you're carrying a cell phone camera or a setup like this, which mine happens to be a Nikon D800 with an 80 to 400 lens. The whole beauty of birding and photography is just capturing your first few birds, because I guarantee you, when you do, you'll get hooked and then you'll want to move on. As far as a brand, depends on who you talk to. You generally join up on one team or the other when you start buying birding photography equipment. So Nikon versus Canon versus Sony, it's what works best for you.
Another consideration is the image size. The two most common choices are the full frame and the cropped sensors. Before spending a lot of money on equipment, talk to your camera store expert and see which one suits your needs best.
Most important is the lens. You want to get at least an 80 to 400 lens. If you can get something larger, God bless you, because it gets real expensive. And typically you do have to carry a tripod with you or a monopod with you in order to carry some of the bigger lenses. This is a great walk-around lens, the 80 to 400, which is what I prefer, handheld. And that is because you never know what you're going to see. I can be shooting at a northern harrier out in the field and see an egret over my shoulder, and then I'm on that. Oh, there's our guy. Wow, he'll be back. He's coming back into the field. Making the rounds. I can tell you, if there had been a lot of birds here, we would have known when that harrier was anywhere close to flying over, because those birds are up. The most important variable in bird photography, in my opinion, is shutter speed. You want to keep your shutter speed up. Therefore, I keep it on 1,000 to 2,000 at all times. It's just the staple. It has to happen. If you're going to shoot shutter speed priority, then your aperture is going to change. Your depth of field, how close you are to the bird, is going to vary. Again, one of the best things to do, in my opinion, is shoot manual, but that is kind of the way that I go. The higher the ISO, the more noise in the photo. Oh, look at the little shorebirds. So close.
Another decision you'll need to make is whether to shoot JPEG or RAW format. Each has distinct advantages, and Peggy isn't bashful about her preference.
Absolutely, I shoot RAW. That is the way, in my opinion, to photograph birds, because it keeps, again, a lot of control in your hands with regard to processing. I process with Lightroom 5 and believe in it wholeheartedly for what we need to do. It's quick, it has amazing results, and it has great storage capabilities. A lot of advantages to Lightroom. But yes, I do shoot RAW. Probably the best investment that you can make when you're getting into birding and bird photography is a good bird book. Sibley's, Peterson's Guide, there's lots of them out there.
Joining social media groups like Birding Arizona and the Southwest on Facebook will also get you a lot of great information about photography and new and different birding locations. Back in the day, the secret to successful wildlife photography was to shoot Kodachrome 64 and get up early in the morning. Well, in this digital age, few people shoot Kodachrome film, but the getting up early part hasn't changed.
The best time to find birds is when they're up first thing in the morning and they're feeding, and guess what? That's the best time for us to get out with light and find the birds. And with a DSLR, a digital single lens reflex camera, you've got lots and lots of ammunition in taking pictures one after another. Sunset is also a good time to find birds. Again, they're going to get in there, they're eating and feeding just before they go to rest. And again, it's the best light for us. when you get into shooting wildlife, there's a passion that comes about that's unmatched. You just feel it. You become part of the nature, part of their scene, part of their lives, part of their world. And the blessing or the reward that comes from it is when you get home and look at your photos and see some of the pictures that you got, and it sparks you to get back out there and go at it again.
Well, that's going to do it for this edition of Arizona Wildlife Views. Remember to get outside and enjoy these amazing landscapes and wonderful wildlife that our state has to offer. Until next time, get outside and enjoy those Arizona Wildlife Views.